Very nice. Um, I want to come on and say something that maybe a lot of people don't realize. Christians, people in general, and I know I've heard of certain things being put out. But it's the things of the world and the difference between heaven and hell. I mean, basically, like this world is like heaven and hell, but just like I received something else today. It told me that a part of these generational curses, because remember the thing is about generational curses, and some pastors, Christian ones, maybe other ones as well, I don't know, but I know especially Christian ones, some acknowledge that the generational curse is real and others don't. Now, why is that difference? Maybe they don't catch on to certain frequencies of events, certain things that happen in certain families' bloodlines, and it'll hit some and miss others, or it can be a repeated pattern. It all differs. It can depend. It's all different, but I know for what has been received in my spirit, through things about trauma, incest, emotional incest, and incest among family members. I'm sure everybody's familiar with the term and knows what it is and everything. Yes, and according to biblical things, especially going into the Bible and everything, there was a point in time where family members and friends, this was, I guess, more natural and okay to be with another relative or whatever else among the bloodline, the pedigree table, the family tree, so on and so forth. But the time frame and the time period we are in now, this is actually, everyone obviously is, by nature, as human beings, we know that I don't believe we even have to have someone to tell us that's wrong. It's built into us as our God-given nature. No, this is not right. It's not natural. It's not even just that it's not normal. It's not natural by nature and by law. By the law of nature, basically. And to sleep, brother, sleep with sister, sister, sleep with brother, mother, fathers, sisters, daughters, fathers, daughters, mothers, sons, any of this stuff. And another thing is emotional incest and all that stuff, like the mothers say, coddling them way too much, keeping them attached too much. I've seen these other shows, like trauma bonding, and I think TLC, I'd seen something on a TLC show, and it's just not natural, man. It's not healthy. That and there's a spiritual notation to it as well. Mothers and daughters having bond so much and doing all these things, like it kind of goes and creeps into the line of emotional incest. Even if they're not even touching emotional incest, I would say it's still bad because it's spiritual as well. That I believe, like, certain parents, family members didn't have that sort of relationship with their normals, like growing up with their family members, so they give it to their children to spin, except they kind of like do their own twist on it, and it's spiritual by nature, and and it could be bondage as well. I believe a lot of that's bondage as well. Yes, generational curses, especially when you're talking in the terms of incest and everything, real incest, touching of your children touching family members touching in general, emotional incest. Emotional incest side is basically, it's just like what I was just stating about the mother, the father, someone didn't get the love and malnourished, spiritual malnourished and treatment of a parent loving them emotionally, mentally, physically how they should. So they go in and they love their child so much they it's like, and it's so much, it can be eventually turned into an unnatural love and everything, like these other shows on TV and stuff I've seen, on normal shows that are like I was saying TLC, and then the trauma incest is almost like, basically you can say it's like a form of trauma bonding. Like I've even heard of basically put into words like certain family members and friends, like mothers and daughters, sisters, brothers, dads, mothers, and everything, doing like those suicide pacts and stuff like that, signing things. You kill yourself, we'll both kill ourselves, or oh god, what else is there? Like maybe some events that happened to them, so both come into an agreement with the same events that happened to them. So this is what we're gonna do, and so on and so forth. Or maybe also, this is something else to take into account. I've seen this, I think, only a few times, where they'll develop and they'll have certain addictions as well. Like it can be drinking and drugs, and then that's how the family members would bond. That's how the form of emotional incest trauma bonding would happen through their addictions, such as drinking drugs. Like the mother would share drugs with the child. The mother would share alcohol with the sons or whatever, or fathers would share stuff with their daughters, sisters, brothers, sisters would share certain addictions, drugs, alcohol stuff. Trauma incest basically, and all these things I'd received, and yes, there is a spiritual side to it, and I believe that's exactly how the enemy would, he comes in and does things and everything to show, oh no, it's still okay, it's still natural and all this. Well, maybe it's not as natural as you realize it, because as people, we can say, like as human beings, we can say a lot of things are natural, but on the other hand, a lot of the things that we do are really not, because human beings, we're of fallen nature origin. We are fallen in nature. We're fallen beings right after the time Adam messed up and sin and whatever else came into the world and blocked humanity from its true purpose and calling and our own blessings uh to the earth. And it's just like, what's that happened? Oh, and you can picture it's almost like God gave another key to Satan, and he kind of unlocked it and told him he could do his own thing for a while, and people would still have free will, and he'd be the runner of this world, this planet, to still give humanity and people that choice. So, die to self, die to self, die to flesh, die to all these things that in our mind or our spirits we perceive as natural, but maybe you should consider it's not so natural if you see it through the eyes of the Most High, that it's not natural, and there's spiritual notations to all this stuff. Because I, for one, do personally believe just about anything, everything. There's that, if you go to the root of it all, it always starts in a spiritual manner, in what you would call the spirit realm, and manifests itself into the physical realm. So that's just my take. That's my perception of it. Especially, I would see it through the eyes of how God would see it. That's how He would see it. So anyway, message, what I received: trauma, incest, emotional incest, and just incest in general among family members. So, fire nice, out.